Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and we're back with the second episode of our Best Cards Ever series. You all seem to like the first episode, which you can see right here if you missed it, that we decided to keep it going. If you didn't see our first episode, in this video we're going to talk about all things Shards of Alara. I'll tell you what the set was like when it released, the high value cards back then, how the set affected Standard at the time, and a lot more. If you enjoyed this series and want to see more, make sure to hit that like button, helps out a lot. In many ways, Shards of Alara was a groundbreaking set for Magic the Gathering. Released on October 3rd, 2008, it was the first time basic lands took the place of commons in a pack, excluding core sets. It was also the first time Wizards cut down heavily on the amount of cards in a large set. Instead of hovering around 300, Shards of Alara is 249 cards. The set also introduced multicolor planeswalkers for the first time ever, and most importantly, this was the very first set to use Mythic Rare as a rarity level. Yeah, it all started right here. The theme of Shards of Alara was, well, the Shards. Ban, Esper, Grixis, Jund, and Naya all came from this set. I did say Shards of Alara was impactful. I bet you didn't think it'd be this impactful. Let's travel through time for a bit. When the set first released, Planeswalkers were Mythic Rares for the first time. All that anyone knew was that Mythics were harder to get than normal rares. The prices of cards right after the set came out shows that. The most expensive card right after release was Sarkhan Vol, one of the new multicolor Planeswalkers. Fetching a $20 premium due to its new Mythic swag, players were sure this was going to be a bonkers card. Active Treason on a stick, Pseudo Anthem and Haste Effect to go up one, really powerful. After Sarkhan was Tezzeret the Seeker at $17.50. Tezzeret's value stemmed more from potential playability than actual applications in constructed formats. As you'll see in a minute, there was no room for artifact shenanigans for some time. Moving right along, Elspeth Knight Aran is next on our list at $11.50 right after release. Not nearly as explosive as Sarkhan Vol or specialized as Tezzeret, Elspeth wasn't seen as the best planeswalker in the set for a while. As you'll see later on, opinions change pretty quickly. Agony Vengeance at $10 is the last Mythic Rare we'll talk about. While we now know how powerful this card is, standard decks at the time relied more on Ajani Goldmane than the Vengeance. Of course, he is a Mythic multicolor walker, so he'll be worth something, but the spotlight was definitely not on him, at least not yet. Of course, we should also note that Ajani Vengeance was the first time a character who already had a Planeswalker card got a second one. For those interested, the most expensive card on release that wasn't a Mythic Rare, Aethersworn Canonist at $8. We'll talk more about her later. The Standard meta at the time was unlike anything we had seen since Affinity dominated Standard back in Mirrodin. Lorwyn, Morningtide, Shadowmoor, Eventide, and 10th Edition were the other sets in Standard when Shards became legal. All the Grand Prix in late 2008 were limited, so the first real test for New Standard was the World Championships in December. No one was surprised when they saw the results. Blue-Black Fairies took down 5 of the top 8 spots. Mistbind Clique, Scion of Una, Spellstutter Sprite, and the Standard Menace Bitterblossom dominated Standard for as long as they were around. With support cards like Jace Beleren, Cryptic Command, Broken Ambitions, and Thoughtseize, no other deck stood a chance, at least not consistently. The only truly impactful card that Fairies took out of Shards of Alara? Agony Warp. It became a playset mainstay as a removal spell in the deck that was to take care of the only other legitimate strategy running around. Fairies' own Standard, that was just straight up fact. However, it didn't stop White Weenie / Kithkin tribal decks from trying their best to break through. Cloud Goat Ranger, Figure of Destiny, Knight of Meadowgrain, and newly printed Ranger of Eos from Shards spearheaded a respectable campaign against Fairies. With support cards like Ajani Goldmane, New Elspeth Knight Aran, and Spectral Procession, the only deck that could go wider than this strategy was the Fairy deck itself. This strategy took only one place in the top 8 at Worlds. The one sign of real change from the championships, Jamie Park top 8'd with 5-color control, running Cruel Ultimatum, Esper Charm, Jund Charm, and what was soon to be a staple creature, Rock's Warmonk. Shards of Alara hadn't really made a name for itself yet, but the potential was there. Let's fast forward a year. Until rotation, Fairies dominated up to the very end, leaving Shards of Alara below the radar. Once rotation happened, everything changed. New Standard was Shards of Alara, Conflux, Alara Reborn, M10, and Zendikar. Without Fairy or Kithkin support, the World Championships looked a lot different. 3 Jund decks top 8'd the event. This started the terrifying reign of Bloodbraid Elf plus Blightning. The value deck also took Sprouting Thrynax and Broodmate Dragon from Shards. Along with Lightning Bolt, Garrick Wildspeaker, and Maelstrom Pulse, Jund quickly became the deck with individual card quality as a win condition. Even now, we usually see a Jund deck towards the end of most standard seasons. Jund good stuff. It was at its peak right here. Naya and Ban also made names for themselves at Worlds. Naya had Willy Thoktar, a 3-mana creature with more power and toughness than anyone was used to before. It was a new standard when it came to vanilla beaters. Noble Hierarch, while being in Bant, was a staple in any deck running at least 2 of her colors, including Naya. This deck also gave new life to Ajani Vengeance. Finally, out of the rock fairies put him under, Ajani Vengeance became a respectable and powerful walker. It wasn't long before he was ranked among the most powerful in the game. Of course, this version also played Blood Parade, Elf, and the ever-popular Ranger of Eos. I feel like I have to mention this. The Bant deck that top-8'd Worlds that year, yeah, they splashed blue specifically to play Rock's Warmonk. Of the basic 3-color creatures at the time, Rock's Warmonk seemed far and away the best. Throughout its time in Standard, entire decks were built to accommodate its inclusion. It's worth knowing. I should also mention, this is near the height of power in Magic. The cards being printed here are supremely powerful and have almost no equal. It was during a time of ultimate power creep that eventually led to Scars of Mirrodin, but that's a story for another video. Just realize that Lorwyn into Shadowmoor, into Shards, into Zendikar was a time of disgusting, awful power creep in Magic, and every set made nowadays is designed with that in mind. So the more you know. So where are we now? 6 more years in the future. Well, Sarkhan dropped quickly. $20 wasn't where he was supposed to be, and now he's a solid $8. Elspeth barely moved in value to $12 from $11, but it should be noted that Modern Masters and the Modern Event deck printing did that. Without the reprint, this would be the most expensive card in the set, considering everyone knows that after heavy hitters like Jace the Mind Sculptor and Liliana of the Veil, Elspeth may be the best Planeswalker to ever be printed, although her popularity has waned as of late. Quickly becoming the most expensive card in the set, Death Baron, yeah. $3 when it was printed, the Baron now fetches $11 at least, and it's still going up. Never underestimate the value of Tribal Lords, wowza. The last card worth mentioning is Ranger of Eos. $4 on release, it became a standard powerhouse and is now played in Modern. $11 is what he'll cost you now, respectable work. So what is the best card in Shards of Alara? In the entire set, the cards seeing the most play are Master of Ethereum, Ad Nauseam, and Aethersworn Canonist. Master and Affinity, Ad Nauseam in its namesake deck, and Aethersworn everywhere. If we're deciding on the best card in the set based on power and playability, honestly, Aethersworn Canonist has to be the best card in Shards of Alara right now. It's a super hoser. Name a white deck in Legacy, and it's sideboarding or main decking the Canonist. Miracles, Stoneblade, Death and Taxes, Maverick, this list is endless. I know it isn't the flashiest card in the set, but if we're being practical, it's earned its time in the spotlight, so that's what I'm going with, Aethersworn Canonist. Well, what did you think of our best cards ever Shards of Alara edition? You like? Anything surprise you? I won't lie, sometimes I forget that Mythics were first printed in this set. You can see how it changed the economy right out of the gate. All the Mythics were automatically the most expensive cards, kinda nuts. Anywho, any comments, suggestions, questions, anything at all, leave it below along with your favorite set you want me to showcase on the series. It helps to know what you want. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.